Hey, everybody. Thank you very, very much for joining us. I have Costa Cleone on, but his camera, we're having some problems. So we're going to start. We're not going to keep you waiting. You can trust me. He is one good-looking guy. Okay? It's NAS Insurance. They're an insurance broker. They're selling tons of sellers insurance policies. And I think it's version 2.0 or 3.0. And we can't get behind it enough. It's cheap. It's effective. We're expecting this program to be much better than prior programs. And we're going to start like we always do, Costa, while you have your tech guy working on your camera. And I know I'm putting you under this stress, okay?
Yeah, no worries.
Tell all of our listeners here, one, how you got into our space, a little bit about yourself, and what you guys do over at NAS.
Yeah, so I work at NAS Insurance, which is a Lloyd's of London underwriter. We've developed specialty insurance products for about 40 plus years. We have an in-house claims handling team that's handled thousands of claims for various other products, and actually used to be an Amazon seller. So we recently developed a product called Momentum, which is basically Amazon suspension insurance. So that'll cover your cost to hire a reinstatement consultant or lawyer like CJ, and also the financial loss you sustain while you're suspended from the platform. And
first, let me interrupt you. I interrupt you a lot. I apologize now. It's just part of who I am.
No worries.
What did you sell, and how did you get into selling? And what do you know?
Yeah, so I actually started off on the actually selling toys. This was like right out of college on Amazon, and it was all retail arbitrage. And my goal was to pay off student loans, and I accomplished that goal in a couple of years. I didn't really reinvest into the business. It was pretty much sell out into Q4 and pay my debt off. And so I noticed a real opportunity with Amazon sellers and suspensions, because, that's what everyone was sort of, fearful about, and it could really devastate, your selling business. And so, that's when I sort of transitioned my focus to the insurance company I was working for, NAS, and we're sort of, I guess you can view us as a manufacturer of insurance products. I mean, that's what an underwriter does. So I pitched the idea to the CEO. They loved it, and here we are today.
All right, let's take a step back, because we have a lot of people who watch these videos who are really new at selling and new entrepreneurs. We have a lot of experienced guys. So first, explain what Lloyd's of London is and the significance of having Lloyd's as your underwriter.
Yeah, so Lloyd's of London is an insurance market. So it's not an insurance carrier per se. So you can have multiple, I guess, entities operating in the U.S. on behalf of London, but no two are alike. So London is basically, I guess you can view it as a market with a bunch of investors that sort of back the risks that an underwriter such as NES is able to write. So it's basically almost endless capital. I mean, these are
that's a big phrase. Endless capital.
Yeah, I guess awesome. It's not endless, but it's billions of dollars. I mean, Lloyd's of London has a 300-year history of no claim unpaid. So it's probably the strongest insurance market in the world.
I got to tell you, that's the problem that we heard about. I can't get into any specifics. Anything any seller tells us is 100% confidential. That's why, one, we're better than the other people that write plans of action. Plus, everything is done here in New York. But everything you tell us is confidential. Yeah. But the problem was in versions like 1.0 and 2.0 is that there were claims made that wasn't paid. And so, that created a lot of jitters among the sellers around the world. What's the point if we're not going to know we're going to get paid? So the fact that the Lloyd's is like no claim unpaid for 300 years, that's really vital to sellers. They need to have confidence that if they do get suspended, the Momentum program is going to cover their losses. And what I want to know is what are the covered losses under Momentum?
Yeah, and I guess just to speak to your point, I can't speak to how earlier versions, and by the way, that was not our product. And I want to make a clear distinction that London, again, is a market that will cover claims that are payable. The underwriter that develops the product is sort of the reputation that you need to sort of look into. I mean, in what I've seen in the space thus far, our company seems to be the most reputable. We're the largest legal expense underwriter in the United States. We've been underwriting for 40 plus years. We have an in-house claims handling team that's handled thousands of claims. This is probably a smaller space for us. So we have great, strong relationships with our investors in London, to the point where paying a claim should not be an issue. And so I sort of view that as maybe an insurance carrier getting to the space that maybe is a startup and sort of, was in over their head. So what we will cover is basically any type of suspension that isn't an intentional violation of Amazon's TOS. And I get there's some ambiguity there, but there needs to be a clear intentionality there for you to not receive coverage.
So if we boil it down to more layman's terms, right? If you put it in the form of like car insurance, if you're speeding and you get into a wreck, Allstate, Geico, State Farm, they pay the claim. You're violating the rules of the road by speeding, but it's certainly not a quote unquote such an intentional act, as opposed to like purposely selling counterfeit items or something like that. Is that sort of the difference?
Yeah, that's actually a great way to put it.
Okay.
And actually, to use that same analogy, I mean, if you look at a carrier like Allstate, I mean, you would expect a higher level of competency from them than you would XYZ insurance down the road. I mean, there's a reputation that they have that they actually pay claims, and so I think that's sort of the distinction I'd like to make with the reputation of our company versus anyone else's sort of a startup in this space.
Yeah, I mean that's it. I mean that's the number one thing. In fact, I had been involved a bit in some of the other launches, and I told the insurance company, I was like, listen, you should pay every claim right out of the box. Pay the claim. Sellers need to have confidence that's worth the premium that they're paying. So the momentum policy, what are the costs and how does the price structure work for sellers?
Yeah, so it's basically, it's mostly based off of your projected gross sales annually. And then it also depends on the limit option that you choose. So we offer aggregate limit options of 25,000 all the way up to $1 million. And so, and we also offer what's termed a sublimit. It's just a smaller limit within that full, 25,000 or $1 million of coverage to hire a reinstatement consultant to cover the costs for that. And that ranges from 2,500 all the way up to 25,000. And I think that's where we really distinguish ourselves from the competition, because our lowest limit, I believe, is twice as much as the competition's highest limit.
Well, what does it cover? Is it covering your net profits? Is it covering your overhead? Is it covering your salaries? What's a covered loss?
So suspension loss basically covers your gross sales less your cost of goods sold less your Amazon fees. So it's going to cover everything beneath that, which is typically your profit plus other expenses.
So it's really your distributions. Like if someone was getting biweekly distributions of like $20,000, $100,000, whatever it is, and you have policy limits, instead of Amazon saying that distribution, eventually the insurance company is going to pay those distributions.
Yeah. I guess it's basically your distribution, but it'll be less the cost of goods sold. That's the only other expense.
Okay. What about from when? From what moment does the coverage kick in? Version like 1.0, I think there was a 5-day waiting period, then 2.0 was from the moment of suspension or vice versa. When does the coverage kick in?
Yeah, so there's a 5-day waiting period. I guess 5 days from when the suspension occurs. I don't know if there's any other answer to that. I mean, that's when the coverage would kick in. At least the financial loss aspect of it. The reinstatement cost is something that kicks in immediately because we understand that as a seller, your number one goal is to be reinstated as quickly as possible. Our goal is in line with that, and so the limit that we offer is really it's enough to hire most professionals expedited services, and so that's where we really, I think that's really our strong suit. It's really to get you up and running as fast as possible.
Well, yeah, that's the number one goal of sellers. Sellers don't want to have claims; they want to get back on. They want to get back on quickly. What we do here is we strive for a 2-day turnaround on any plan of action that we are requested to write. But let's say a seller, they get suspended for inauthentic, right? Or the ODR rate goes up. And now they have coverage. They let you know about it. What does the seller then need to do in terms of listen, they could hire any consultant they want and their POAs can get farmed out to the Philippines or wherever, or they can hire us and have everything done, have their livelihood in the hands of college educated Americans. It's their choice. That was just a slight plug. So let's say seller ABC gets suspended for an inauthentic. They call you up or they email you. Okay, what's the next step? And also, what's the website? I'll put the domain on the screen. What's the domain?
Yeah, nasmomentum.com.
Sorry, I didn't do that earlier.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, sorry about the camera. I'm not sure. Our tech person's a little confused about it too.
All right, you can touch me. It's up. nasmomentum.com. So make sure you visit this website. Take a look at the program. So, okay, seller gets suspended. What do they do?
Yeah, so I guess something about our company, we have an in-house claims handling team. So first you're going to be assigned a claims examiner that's going to work with you throughout the life of the claim. We're pretty hands-off when it comes to handling your claim for you. There aren't very stringent rules of that and I challenge anyone to look into some of the other policy wording. We're not requiring you to hire someone within 24 hours and then they have to submit something within 48 hours or anything like that. Within that waiting period, it's up to you whether or not you want to hire somebody. We encourage you to hire a professional. We provide enough limit for you to hire a seasoned professional in this space. And it's really up to you on how you want to handle the situation and what's right, because not every situation is going to be handled within a 24-hour period. It may be a more complex suspension that may require a bit more time. And we think that you should take the time to handle the suspension appropriately so that you're not denied and you have to reappeal and go through that.
I tell you, that is vital, because with one of the, I'm not sure if it was version 1.0 or 2.0, that was a problem. What we did is we gave specific emails, and I gave my cell phone number, right, to the people who had purchased the insurance so they could reach me day or night, because they were under this crazy 24-hour period. And what happens if, you're a Shabbos observer, right? Or the person you want to hire is an observer, or it's a Sunday night and people aren't taking calls, or it's a vacation or something. So that was really difficult for sellers. So seller gets suspended. What do they have to do? They can hire whomever they want. Who pays the bill? Like if they choose to hire Rosenbaum Familaro, they're like, okay, we want you to do our plan of action for us. We want you to use your American team to do the plan of action. Who hires us? Who pays the bill? Or is there a reimbursement? Like, how does that all work?
Exactly. It's a reimbursement policy. So the seller would pay the bill and submit the invoice, and then we would reimburse them for that invoice.
Okay, so they can choose. Do you have a list of people that are on your list? They can choose anyone they want.
They can choose anybody they work with, and anyone they want.
Okay, so they call us, they hire us. The 24-hour delay with the 24-hour deadline was really also problematic, because it kind of compelled you to do a plan of action that may not have been the best. Like sometimes you have to gather your invoices, right? You have to contact the complainant in an IP case. So that 24-hour period was very, very difficult. I don't think we ever blew it. I think we made every single one. But sometimes more time is better, and it takes some of the stress off. So exactly. They hire us. Okay, we start working on it right away. Do we interact with your claims rep at all?
You mean the specialist?
I guess either us who are writing the plan of action for the seller, or the seller themselves. Like, what's the interaction with the claims rep?
The communication is really between the seller and the claims examiner, and the reason why we don't, think it's I guess the best course of action to pull in a suspension specialist is because there may be an E&O issue there. If we, utilize, I guess, and maybe you can speak to this as a lawyer, but I mean, if we're sort of, influenced by the specialist.
Let me say it. Let me be the bad guy, okay? Let me be the bad guy, okay? If you had non-lawyers, right, on your list of people, and they took the information about a seller's product and then started competing with them with that information. Since they have no obligation to confidentiality, Lloyd's and NAS does not want to be on the hook. Correct?
Correct. And that's why we don't want to have a list that we force sellers to use, nor do we want to have an in-house specialist that we force sellers to use. It's their business. We don't want to control the decisions that they make about their business, because that creates a liability on our end, and it's not in the best interest of the insured. I
got to tell you also, from a seller's perspective, a lot of sellers are excellent at writing their plans of action, and they know their business and they know how to correct it. So a lot of times, we help a lot of sellers write plans of action themselves, but I can definitely see a seller being like, you know what, I'm doing it myself. I know my business. And the fact that the old policy required them to hire somebody could have been a detriment in some cases.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, so we covered your history as a seller, so you know it from both sides of the fence. We know the momentum, what the policy covers. We know when it starts, right? I don't think the other policies had a claims examiner that was assigned to each claim. I think the sellers kind of felt a bit, in the dark, no matter how hard the brokers worked. Yeah. What else is special about the momentum policy that we haven't covered?
Yeah, we actually added in another coverage, and it's something we've underwritten for many years. It's called tax audit expense. And that's something that, a ton of Amazon sellers are sort of worried about, considering the
oh my God, sort of worried about? When it comes to sales tax, what's going to happen is like 90% of the conversation, 95%. Sellers all over the world are worried what the heck's going to happen with U.S. sales taxes.
Exactly. And there's always been sales tax nexus issues, and I think it's just becoming an increasingly important issue. So we cover basically the cost for you to hire a tax practitioner in the event you are audited.
That's huge. I didn't know that about your policy. Yep. Sellers out there, you got to see this. You got to read this policy. Okay. I got to read it myself before I endorse it. But if it's covering you to hire a tax professional, potentially a tax lawyer, to deal with your sales tax issues, this is something worth looking into. And Coast, if you can email me a copy of that policy, I want to read it to see what it's covered, because this is the number one stress when it comes to sales tax. What is going to happen? Are sellers going to owe sales tax? And I think even more important, they're going to even have to file sales tax returns in every different parish in Louisiana, or in every different jurisdiction in every state across the country. Is Amazon going to be compelled to step up to the plate? We have a really unusual Supreme Court right now. I mean, the bench on the Supreme Court is really, really wild, with, the prior appointees, the new Trump appointee. We got 2 Supreme Court justices in their mid-80s. I personally hope they both make it to the next presidency, but who knows? But this is a huge topic, so that you're covering it at all. Sellers, check out this coverage. Also, hold on, Costa. We got a couple of questions, okay? Okay. Gene, I see your question. Because we sell pro-Trump and pro-American items on Amazon, we design and embroider ourselves. We design and embroider the items ourselves. We are constantly under attack by Amazon.com, and the listings are getting suppressed for the Make America Great Again hat. They have been pulled, okay? Amazon admitted it was a mistake two weeks ago and said it would be fixed, but they throttled the listings back. So sales are down based upon what Gene thinks are baseless complaints. So does the coverage cover anything about individual ASINs or if there are lost sales when you get reinstated?
So right now, we're walking before we run. The coverage only is for account suspensions, which we view as the worst thing that can possibly happen to you. Now, we have been in discussions about providing ASIN level coverage. It does get a little bit more nuance when you're talking about individual ASIN listings, but we will most likely come out with something. It's just not anytime the next few months. I think it's going to take a bit more development time to really come to the table with ASIN level.
I think that's wise. I think that's really, really smart. To identify what you're going to do, make sure you're doing it really, really well, before you expand to the next step. So while I guess that provides a little less coverage than sellers might be willing to purchase, they might want more. I think that's really smart for NAS, for the momentum policy, to really limit it so you can get in, get the confidence of sellers, okay, and then move on. I got another question from Earmitz, okay, asking, isn't Make America a Great Again trademarked? I don't know. I don't know if they obtained the mark or not. I don't know if it's copyright material. I don't know the answer to that. I suspect that it is. And I don't want to get into any pro or anti-Trump comments at all. This is not about politics. This is about teaching sellers how to make more money and keep their accounts. So, Earmitz, to answer your question, I don't know the answer. Gene said, thank you very much. If any of the viewers have any questions, just pump them through. We'll try and answer them.
Great.
All right. What else do you want to tell us about Costa? What else do sellers need to know?
Yeah, I mean, our coverage is very affordable for the value that you get out of it, and obviously, an insurance product, the value you receive is when the worst happens to you, which is never a great thing, but at least you'll have that peace of mind if you do purchase our policy. And actually at our website, you can do a quick calculation. It's at the bottom of the homepage. We have a calculator to see if it makes sense for you and your business. You just put in your gross sales, the limit option, and you could see a quick sort of indication of what your premium might be around, which may be helpful before reaching out, just to see if it's the right fit for you.
All right, we got a question from Skylar. He already went to the website, so I'm glad we're driving traffic to you. Okay, he or she asks, what about indemnity? What about the indemnity period? It says 30 days on the website. Does that mean you only have coverage for a loss of up to 30 days?
Yeah, so each suspension loss receives its own 30-day period. So we will cover multiple suspensions that occur throughout a policy period, but however, each are limited to 30 days of coverage.
I think that's wise too. I mean, if you have a seller, you want that seller getting back on. You don't want sellers, sitting back and sort of collecting the insurance. That's not what you're there for. You're there to help sellers who want to sell. So I think that's good. It caps it. Sellers know exactly what they're going to get. So Skylar, you buy the policy, you're covered for 30 days, and you better get yourself back on, and get back to selling. This is not it's not a government dole. This is a way of covering your loss and getting back on. Also, Skylar and Gene, Earmitz, and Ivy, thank you for the hello. You ask a question, send me your domestic address, and I'll send you a free copy of our suspension book, because the questions make these conversations so much more lively. So all you guys, send me your domestic address, and I'm standing right next to it. You will get a free copy of our guide to suspensions, how to avoid them, teaching you and empowering you to get your accounts back on your own. For all sorts of suspensions. So Skylar, Gene, Earmitz, Ivy, send me your domestic address and we'll send you a book. All right. By the way, what else you got for us, Costa? What else can you tell these sellers?
I think the biggest differentiator between our product and anything else that is out there, it really has to do with the fact that we have an in-house claims handling team. That's not very common amongst underwriters, and our company was actually established by an attorney, and that's why it's very claims focused, and that's really where we built our reputation with both our clients and our investors, our insurers. And I guess another tidbit about the company, there's a large insurance carrier, multi-billion-dollar insurance carrier called Tokyo Marine Kiln. They purchased a 49% stake in our company. So 51 is owned by the family. It's a family-owned business. However, we have a good amount of capital capacity to sort of build out these programs from the ground up and pay claims and really just get the engine going with them. So I think that's a pretty big differentiator.
And your claims examiners have been trained on Amazon. Like, they can speak Amazon, they know Amazon.
They have. We've had several training sessions. Obviously we didn't hire Amazon sellers for a claims team. It's just not, something that's possible. However, we have they're very seasoned in handling the claims process, and we've had several training sessions with them on how to read the policy and how to determine a payable claim, et cetera. and it's probably going to be a more hands-on approach with myself and some other, some of the executives here while we initially handle claims. However, they are well trained and they're a great team.
Cool. I mean, that to sellers, sellers have nobody to speak with, right? They can't call Amazon and get anybody who knows anything or has any authority on the phone. So if the seller is calling, also I took the website off, so I want to put your contact information. If our listeners want to reach you, where can they call you? Where can they email you? And I'll put it right up on the screen.
Yeah, the email, the best email to use is probably info@nasmomentum.com.
Got it. Okay. All right. If you have any questions, email info@nasmomentum.com. Gene, I see your comment. It sounds like your plan of action is just not being concise and persuasive enough to differentiate between drug-related and MAGA, Make America Great Again, paraphernalia. So if you want to email me privately, do it. I'll do my best to walk you through what I think you should do to really get it through the people that are reading it on Amazon side of the computer in Bangalore or Hyderabad. Susan O'Connor. Susan, I see you. I will search my emails for you and get back to you quickly. Costa, anything you want to add? I know, we met in person at Prosper in Vegas, which was a phenomenal event for sellers. I mean, just for the advanced seller, it was tons of great information. Where else are you guys going to be, or what events you going to?
Yeah, actually, I just got back from Denver. We went to RMRC, the Rocky Mountain Resellers Conference, which was a great time. And the next conference we're going to is Midwest Ecom.
Travis's event. Yeah, we're going there too. My partner, Anthony Familaro, is going to be speaking at Midwest Ecom. It's right at the very end of June, right?
I think July 21st.
If you're in that part of the country, I got to tell you, Midwest Ecom is a terrific, terrific event. The organizer's name is Travis. He knows Amazon like the back of his hand. And you go there, and it's not hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. It's a really intimate learning session where you get to interact like one-on-one with just about every speaker there. And Travis brings in some really high-quality people. Every time I've been there, I've sat there and taken notes, and I've always learned from the presentations. They're really just top-notch, and getting in and out of Minneapolis is a piece of cake. And it's a fantastic airport. It's like 10 minutes from the airport. Everything is reasonably priced. So Midwest Ecom, if you haven't heard of it, check it out. It is a fantastic event for sellers domestically. All right, do me a favor. This is your chance. Do a plug, name. I got your email address on the screen. Give me your last bits, and then I want to talk to Amazon sellers and all of our listeners about a charity that I just want them to participate in, and it costs them nothing. So what do you want them to know, Costa?
Yeah, again, we're here to provide the best possible insurance product to Amazon sellers, built by an Amazon seller with a great underwriting team with 40 plus years of experience, in the underwriting and insurance business, with great reputation, with Lloyd's of London. And we're really here to help you get back to selling. That's the intent of our coverage. And we're always open to feedback on how to make our coverage better. And we're nimble enough to move and expand with the community, but we're big enough to really make sure this is a viable program for years to come. So we're excited to sign up a bunch of sellers, provide that peace of mind. You can go to our website to learn more, and you can call our agency. There's a phone number on there. And we're happy to talk to you and help you through the process.
Terrific. All right.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to take the opportunity to pump myself, although I kind of talked about what we do here a little bit more than I normally do. Okay. What I'm putting up on the screen, okay, is called the Ty Lewis Campbell Foundation. Okay. Ty Lewis Campbell Foundation. Ty Lewis Campbell Foundation. Ty was a little boy. He was diagnosed with brain cancer by around the age of 3. Fought incredibly hard, was in the hospital. I mean, surgeries, stents. I mean, just awful. And unfortunately, Ty passed away. His dad's name is Lou Campbell, a great friend of mine, fraternity brother of mine. His mom's name is Cindy Campbell. And they turned this god-awful tragedy into triumph and created this charity, the Ty Lewis Campbell Foundation, where they raise money solely and exclusively to find cures and better treatments for pediatric cancers. Now, I want every single person that listens to this information, who takes our information, who gets all the knowledge we put out there, okay? When you shop on Amazon, please use the Amazon Smiles program and pick the Ty Lewis Campbell Foundation as your charity. It costs you nothing. It costs the seller nothing. And Amazon sends a small donation for just about every purchase, if not every purchase, to the foundation. And it all adds up. So we all shop on Amazon. Love or hate Amazon, we shop there because they deliver stuff really quickly and the sellers are practically perfect. So when you're shopping, please use the Amazon Smiles program and pick the Ty Lewis Campbell Foundation. All right, guys. Acosta, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you
so much sharing the information. I had too much coffee, that's why I'm speaking over you. I apologize, but thank you again.
No worries. This is great.
And this will stay on our Facebook page. If you have other questions, send them, email me your domestic address. I'll send you a copy of the book, and I will see you again, certainly no later than next Wednesday, but hopefully on here sooner. We have Midwest Ecom coming up in Minneapolis, awesome event. Retail Global in Las Vegas in October. Also teach you how to get into the Australian market. Ecom Chicago, I forgot to mention it's in Chicago. It's also in October, a absolutely fantastic event. So if you're in that part of the country, Ecom Chicago. So thank you everybody for listening, and we'll get on here again with some breaking news. Thanks a lot, Costa.
Appreciate it.